Welcome back. In today's video we'll be looking at data validation in Microsoft Excel. Data validation is a way of restricting the contents of a cell, so we can only limit it to a certain type of value. For example, just a date, just a decimal number, or something custom as well. The first thing we'll need to do is actually get data validation in a cell. We'll choose cell B2 for this example first. We're going to go to the data tab at the top and then find where it says data validation. Now you can click on the top icon or you can click the drop down box to reveal the three options that we have. We'll choose the top option, which is called data validation. So this is the window it brings up. We're in the settings tab, which is the main tab to choose the criteria. We'll need to go to this allow box first. So this is the type of data that we want. If we click on this drop down box, we've got all of the options. It's currently set to any value, as you'd expect, with it being default in Excel. We can start with a whole number, so we could use this as an example. If we select that, we can choose between, or we can choose any of these other options. Now you'll know what you want in this box, so you won't have to follow me exactly if you want something different. So if we were to choose between and we put a minimum of 0 and a maximum of 10, and then we just go ahead and click OK, we can now try and do this in this box. If we were to put 5.5, you'll see it's brought up the default message. We can click retry, and if we were to do 11, we'd get the exact same message because it doesn't fit the criteria that we said. Now if we go back to data validation and click on it, it will bring up the same window, and it will be, if we're in the same cell, the exact same criteria. So the other things we might want to change, if we go to the second tab, which is the input message, what this will do if we select a title and message is when we're on this cell, it will actually tell us what we want. So for example, our example is 0 to 10, so our title might be rating, and the input message would be please enter a number between 1 and 10. And we went with 0 and 10 because that's what we chose. So if we click OK now, you can see the title is there in bold and we've got the message below it. Now if we click off that cell, it won't show, but if we click back on it, it will show up. And then back to data validation for the third cell. This is the error alert, so it was set to the default one that I showed you earlier. We can choose the icon here, it's set to stop. We can choose warning or information. We could put the title as error, and then the error message could be something like you need to enter a number between 0 and 10. Like that. If we click OK now and we choose 11 again, now it'll bring up the error message that we customized. So if we click off it, we can leave the 11 in there, and another thing we could do quickly is we can choose circle invalid data. Now if we've got a lot of information on one sheet, you can see how that would be quite helpful if somebody's inputted data incorrectly and not changed it. So those are the basics of data validation. You can see with the allow box we've got a load of different other things. I won't need to show you all of these as some of them are self-explanatory. We'll cover the date one as another example quickly. It works in a very similar way. We've got the between box here set again, and we can choose the start date and end date, and it will only allow for dates within that range that we've chosen. We can also do something like text length, so we can enter a minimum text length and a maximum text length. This would be helpful if you think of cases like passwords, or if we've got a certain number of digits that need to be inputted. If we were manually entering codes that, for example, need to be 5 digits long, and we entered a 6-digit number by accident, it would tell us that that's wrong, and that's quite helpful if you've got that sort of scenario. And then we've got a list. A list works in a slightly different way. It'll be a drop down if we've got this box checked. We'll need a source, so before we actually do this, we need to go and create a list. Now you could do this off the sheet, for example. So if we go down to cell B80 and entered some fruits. So if we've got 4 fruits there and we go back to cell B2, go to data validation, this time we'll select list, and the source, we're going to go down and select the 4 cells. Hit enter, and you can see if we've got it set to that with the in cell drop down, click OK, we've got the drop down box that we can enter the information there. And you can see how this might be helpful if we've got only certain data that we'd want to include in this cell. And then finally you could add a custom formula. You need to input the formula in there, but you don't need to worry about this if you know exactly what you want. And so that's an introduction to data validation in Microsoft Excel. I've tried to keep it as simple as possible. If you found the video helpful, make sure you leave a like and feel free to subscribe. Just leaves me saying thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in another video.